Hey, this is Andreas from Pocketables.com, and in this video I'm going to show you my latest tasker creation and briefly explain how it works. So I have my to-do lists app thing which I can access via my sidebar here, which basically allows me to access any of 5 to-do lists, one of which is a shopping list, which I can open and then add items to and things like that. So a few days ago I was basically adding the same list of ingredients for a certain dinner dish that I always do, and I was thinking that there has to be a better way than just keep adding the same stuff over and over. So I thought about making sort of like a recipe add-on for the shopping list where I could just put in recipes with lists of ingredients I need, then just click it and have that added to the shopping list all at once. So that's what I did, and I can access it just by long clicking on the shopping list icon. So this is just some test stuff I put in there while I made it. I haven't actually started inputting any actual real recipes yet. So this is just basically examples showing how it works. So on this first screen right here I have a list of all the recipes, and if I click one of them I get into this sort of expanded view which shows all the individual ingredients. So the way it works is that I can long tap something in order to add the entire contents of that recipe to the shopping list, or I can go into detailed mode and select individual ingredients and then add those. The point of that being that sometimes I might need everything I need to make something, while another time I might have a few things, which allows me then to select everything else. So that's basically what this does right now. I haven't given it any more functionality, but I thought I would show you how it works because the method I used is something I haven't done before and it actually works fairly well. So the way you actually add recipes is that I have a folder deep in my file system called, let's see, so it's essentially a folder called recipes, and in that folder I have various files, basically just text files named wherever I wanted the recipe to be named. So if I create a new file, let's call it pizza, I need to add the extension, edit it, and just like I don't know, so you need to make pizza flour and tomatoes or something like that. Yeah, doesn't matter, it's just as an example. Delete this automatically created backup file. So basically I just added a new file here and just call it whatever I wanted it to be called and put in whatever ingredients I wanted in there. Then if I go back into the recipe list, the new recipe is already there and working. So the way that works is you can just have this starting. Let's see. So this is the sort of task that initiates the scene. What this does is start off by listing the files in that folder and putting them into an array called rec files. And then last week I wrote about some advantages of using comma separated values instead of arrays, so that's actually what I'm doing here. This second action actually transfers all the individual arrays, array variables, which means all the individual file path in that folder, into a single variable in a comma separated fashion. So basically file path 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Then I use variable search replace to basically just chop off both the file extension and the file path, the folder path. So that basically takes the path to the text files and cuts off the file extension .txt, cuts off the folder path, leaving me with just the name. So that leaves me with a single variable that has a comma separated list of all the names of files in that folder. So there it does show scene, and the scene it shows actually uses that variable in a menu scene element in order to list all of them. So the long tap option for those actually then takes the name accessible via the tap label in local variable, and then basically reattaches the file path and the extension, turning it back into a path, so that when I long tap it, it basically finds that file path, reads the contents of that file into a variable, and then it basically just runs the standard task that I use to add stuff to my shopping list, which is something I used in several other tasks as well, so I just copied it. If I single tap it, however, it does the same read file, however it actually uses it to populate a new scene which displays on top. It's actually a completely new scene that displays on top of the other one. So it basically takes the contents of the text file and puts that into a variable, which it then uses to launch a new scene. So that variable is the source for this scene. And then this scene is multi-select instead of just tap, having tap options, because here I can actually select multiple. So that basically means that every time I tap something, I have to transfer the select label's local variable, which contains a comma separated list of all the names, into a global variable, which I can then start using elsewhere, specifically in this this sort of confirm button, which then basically does almost exactly the same thing as the long tap option. It's just that it actually takes the variable containing whatever you selected and uses that instead of read file. So the basic point I wanted to show here is how you can take a specific folder full of files and sort of turn that into a list displayed in a, let's say, human readable way without all the file path and stuff like that, and still turn it back into a file path and use it for other methods and other means. So once you have all of that set up and working, you'll basically just be able to stuff as many text files as you want in that folder, and you can see that it's very quick in actually taking that text file, turning it into a list. So I'm tapping now and there's the list. So it's really quick because I use a single global variable for the menu scene element instead of a global array. So I also use variable search replace instead of some sort of for loop or something like that. So you can see it's actually quite quick. And every time I tap something, it actually opens up a new scene on top. You can't actually see that happening because I use overlay blocking window something scene type, which gives you the illusion that it's actually opening sort of a new page within the same app. So that's basically how it works. I think this can be useful for other things than just a recipe list as well, and you could use your imagination to actually expand this if you wanted to. You could, for instance, add an interface that would actually allow you to put other things than just ingredients in the list, and sort of have an actual recipe or cookbook or whatever, and just have that put stuff in your to-do list. It's not really that hard, and I think it works great. So thank you for watching, and make sure to read more about Tasker on Pocketables.com.